Let me put that up there like that, and let's put it up there. There we go. We are live here at KFUG, and you've entered the cosmic radio receptors of KFUG 101.FM in Crescent City, California, and beyond. I'm Jacques Kepner, and the name of this show is Jock Talk. You've entered the new zone of sports here on Jock Talk. KFUG, your sports leader. I've been practicing that all week. You're into the you scored here on Jock Talks. My guest, Dr. G, over here, we're laughing hysterically, as we've been laughing all week every time I go, Jock Talks, Jock Talks on Jock Talks. We are into sports talks here on Jock Talks. Paul Kritz, the affectionate top brass of this organization, and station manager and all-around good guy, is he's about ready to throw me out of my ear. Are you talking any more of that? Jock Talks! Okay, let's get back to reality. We're not going to be talking jock subjects today or sports, at least not at this hour-long conversation. I want to put it out to the universe that I would be interested in talking to some sport-minded people here in the area that might have a great guest. I understand the high school. The Warriors got a new coach. Maybe we could talk to the coach and come on and talk local sports for a half hour or an hour. We are available here on your radio 24/7, 7 days a week. And I have this show between 1 and 2 p.m. every Wednesday. And it's live. Folks, that's a big learning step. In radio, a lot of shows are canned, meaning they're put in the can and then replayed. Well, we broadcast live here on your community radio station. We're made up of living voices like yours that make this interesting place home. Every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I'll be talking with local folks and characters that make our northernmost magical coastline such a very, very beautiful place. If you're in tuned and listening either live, rebroadcasting, or streaming, then you will know that you're lucky to have such a fantastic community radio station as KFUG to serve you 24/7 and its rich assortment of unique programming. And it's not just listening, it's getting involved with your local voice. So that means volunteer. I'm a volunteer broadcaster. I volunteer my time to put these shows together, seek out the interesting folks that make our general area unique and wonderful. And then I am fortunate enough to be able to put along with the great help of Paul and others at this wonderful station. You can too contribute. Volunteer, donate money, time. It's a good nonprofit 501(c)(3) foundation here, and it's non-commercial radio. So you won't be hearing, Jock Talk, come on down, okay, for today we're having hot dogs with mustard. So check us out at kfugradio.org. Reach out and tell us more about your shows, possible shows you'd like to see or hear on the radio, and community work. And if you have a noble cause that benefits us all, let us know, and we will help you spread the word. It's easy. We're very accessible, and we're here for you. kfugradio.org. Get down on it. Yeah. Get down on it. Now, before I jump to our guest today, a very special lady in my life, I pitched this show to the KFUG brass, otherwise known as Paul Kritz, as mentioned before. And my point is simply this. If I could do this kind of show, then you can too. So I'm bringing it full circle. What I started with, just get involved, because KFUG is KOOL. It is cool. KFUG is cool. Yeah. We have a very special guest today on KFUG, as mentioned. In a way, she is an outsider looking in. She was born and raised in the Black Forest of Germany, across the river and not too far distant from Strasbourg, France. She is multilingual. She's multi-talented. She has worn many coats. She's been a student where she got a BA, then a master's, then her doctorates, etc., etc. She most probably won't want to say that, tell you that, but she is very well decorated and accomplished. She is a professional, a former professor at a major United States university and a long time, about a 20-year research scientist. And whether she likes me to say it or not, she's got several patents to her credit and good stuff that she's done for the benefit of many unique organizations. She is a quiet mover shaker, and her patients give her a lot of credit. We go out quite a bit, and they get to see their doctor out in a social environment instead of in a clinical, sterile office one, and they get to see a different side of the good doctor, one that many of them are so, they're like shocked. They're like, wow, it's Dr. G. How are you? Gosh, wow. She has lots and lots of patients. She is one of the few doctors in town that still is taking on new patients. She's been here for 3 years, going on 3 years. And again, it's just fantastic to be with a woman, number one, in a traditionally man's job, doing so well. She's smart as the proverbial whip. She's sweet and nice beyond compare. I could go on and on and on about this wonderful person. So I would like to welcome Dr. Gigi. How are you?
Wow, I look good on paper. Holy crap. Okay, thank you.
There's that laugh of hers.
Thank you. It's good to be invited. Thank you. And your show is pretty cool. Thank you for having me on.
Well, you are welcome. I want to jump in. Paul Kritz has been saying, oh, we got to ask her about, we'll ask him really substantive questions here real soon. But I got to say something that has just blown my mind because I just found out about it this week. We were discussing it, and that is the COVID virus. Let's start right there. The COVID virus, as we all know, is that round, super magnified, spiky, orange, blue thing you see on the front of newspapers and magazines and on television as that dreaded COVID virus. Now, no matter where you are on the fence about vaccinated or unvaccinated, I am, I know you are, and never have had it yet, knock on wood, so here's my head being knocked on. Oh, that hurt. Doesn't matter what side of the fence. We're not turning this into a political arena at all. But what blew my mind, doctor, is that huge, round, ugly, spiked virus is not a living thing. Can you tell? Is any virus alive?
So, as per definition, no, it is not. So viruses are not considered alive because they're missing a lot of things that biology thinks alive things have to have. For example, they have no metabolism. So you need to have a metabolism to be called alive. You need to have some kind of growth. There is no baby virus, which becomes an adult virus. So there's no growth for a virus. There is a lot of things that they do not have. They're taking another cell hostage and make the cell do what they cannot do. So the cells are being taken hostage and the cell will assemble new viruses. So basically we have viruses that hijack another cell to make more viruses, and they don't eat, they don't poop, they don't breathe.
What a trip. They don't poop, they don't breathe, they don't eat, they just are these living? No, they're not living things. They're like, are they zombies?
Yeah, they're the undead.
The undead. What a trip. I had no clue, and I thought I was pretty, after all, I know a doctor. Good friend of mine, Paramore, but yeah. I did not know this, and I was shocked when you told me about it.
Yeah.
And we went down that lane. Okay, but then in a way, I could compare it to something else, and that is a computer virus. You're the one that brought that up. Computer virus isn't a living thing, is it?
Right.
But it wreaks havoc.
It does take over another computer and wreaks havoc. Exactly. It disassembles, it breaks code. I don't know how they really do, but they're bad for software, and you can basically, if it's a bad virus,
Malware.
Malware.
Yeah, so it's not a living thing. So, but people say, my computer's got a virus. We almost talk like it's like it's got a virus in there.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's there, but it's not there.
It's not a physical thing. It just, we see the damage. It does.
So these viruses don't live. Okay. Now, we talk about things like bacteria.
Yeah.
What's a bacteria versus a virus?
Well,
or, pardon me, a bacteria versus a
virus.
A virus, okay.
Yeah. So bacteria are alive because they do eat, they do poop, so to speak, they do breathe, so to speak, they have a metabolism. They're getting bigger. There's more bacteria after one might separate into two. So they are living organisms. They have everything that is needed to be called alive. There are also, many of them are pathogens, so they make us sick just like the viruses do, but they actually live. So we can actually make them dead. Viruses we cannot make dead because they don't live.
What are some famous diseases that are bacteria based?
Pneumonia is bacterial pneumonia.
Pneumonia is not a virus.
Well, yeah, okay. So there's viral pneumonia. There's actually COVID pneumonia as well. So pneumonia really only means you have an inflammation of the lungs, which is can be caused by many
Okay,
things.
so wait a minute. Now back it up because is like all right. So let's say like rubella or rabies or something. Are these bacteria? Is rabies bacteria?
Rabies is a virus.
Rabies is another virus. Oh God, there's a damn undead.
No, these are right. Oh, okay.
How about botulism?
Botulism is bacterium toxin.
Is bacterial toxin.
Yeah.
You don't want to get that. How about salmonella? Same. Oh, that's parasitical.
No, salmonella is also a bacterium.
Wow. So, okay. So then there's a third realm I just mentioned. Parasitical.
Parasites. Yeah. Parasites also. Actually, parasites have to be called parasites if they take over. They're not symbiotic, but they harm another cell or another living thing by staying alive. So that's what parasites are. They're parasitic in nature. So
they invade us.
They can invade us and they harm us by whatever they do, breeding or eating our innards or something. So those are, but they're usually, that's parasites by themselves, but they're worm parasites.
Ooh.
There are
Yikes.
protozoan parasites. So they're parasites is just they're living, how they live, how they harm us, or how they harm other plants or animals or whatever they harm. So those are parasites, but they can be from different kingdoms. So there's the nematodes or other worm animal kingdoms, or the second kingdom, the protista. Protozoan.
Protozoan. Oh my gosh. How about fungi? Fungi is nothing. That's a different kingdom.
That's
right?
another kingdom altogether.
And then plants, and then animal.
Yep, those are
So
the
we
five
got
kingdoms.
the big five, and we saw that grotesque. I don't know. I'm so sorry I exposed you to it, but some guy in Australia that has some monster spiders trapped, and he sprays it, and out of it comes this 40,000-inch worm out of this dead spider, the worst looking spider you've ever, give you nightmares, and this long grotesque red worm comes scrawling out of it and gets whipped up into all the foamy.
How did that ever fit in that spider? Oh my gosh.
So they took over, it's hijacked, right? Parasites can hijack.
Yeah.
and they go into mad cow disease. Is that a parasitical?
No, oh my gosh. So mad cow disease is yet something else. Mad cow disease is actually a so-called prion. A prion is a protein that folds wrongly. So it's a total different, absolutely not alive something or other that can kill us. It's a protein that folds wrongly, and once it folds wrongly, it tells other proteins to fold wrongly, and whoever has the mad cow disease will die once it is active, will die within
So
days.
what, cows that eat other cows' brains, basically, if a cow is ground up and put into feed, it's getting some of its brain matter in there, and then those cows eat that brain matter, and then the prion works its way into the system, and it infects them and makes them absolutely stark raving mad.
Yeah.
There's not many cases of it transgendering over to, well, that's a wrong word for that, but moving over to man.
Yeah.
But there are other diseases.
Yeah, Creutzfeldt-Jakob is equivalent to the mad cow disease.
What is it called?
Creutzfeldt-Jakob. I don't know how to pronounce it in English.
Oh, that's the cannibals?
That's the kuru, which is pretty much the same
The
thing.
kuru.
Yeah.
So that's the one the cannibals they found in Borneo and New Guinea, where they were eating human brains. They became mad too. So it's a good lesson, right? Don't eat brains here on KFUJ Chalk Talks. It's just fascinating. Here we've already spun off into 3 or 4 different weird subjects, and we're already 20 minutes into this. This is amazing. Okay, we're going to get some real substantive and deep questions for you about the community in which you operate and move as a physician, and what your take on that. But I got to cover a few more things. Speaking of spiders, I know you know what I'm going to say, right? Okay. I'm well traveled, folks. I've been around. I've been to Amazon, and I've seen lots of spiders in my life, and here and there. But I want to say, since moving to Crest City, California, 5 months ago, I am now a veteran of spider spottings. They are everywhere, all over the property in which we live out by the Tuala Dunes, and they are thick. These are not big, hairy spiders. They're small, kind of smaller, but we're talking every time I walk out to the back lawn, not 1, not 20, but 20, 30,000 of these bugs, these arachnids, these spiders just are startled, and they scatter. And if I walk up against the house, they jump from the weeds up against the house, and you can see how many there are. I'm not a random killer of any animals or any insect at all. If it has an opportunity to live outside of my space, then I will let it live, as you would too. And I've seen you do this many times with flies and gnats and whatnot. Yeah. But the spiders are kind of hard. When I mow, I'm kind of satisfied. I'm just basically killing hundreds of thousands of these they're everywhere here. So I will say, hands down, across the board, that Crescent City has more spiders than I have ever seen anywhere in this big wide world. That being said, do spiders, is spider bites common? Are they, do you treat them as physicians very often? I guess we don't have to go down this road too far, but.
Yeah, well, we do see spider bites a lot. A lot of people call everything a spider bite without knowing if it is a spider bite. So if something bit them and it's red and a welt, and then a lot of people call it spider bites. When you ask, did you see the spider? Usually they say no. Usually the spider bites are not seen. The spiders are not actually watched. So what we're actually doing usually is treating not for the brown recluse or the black widow or something like that for the poison. We're treating for skin infections, because we have to assume that whoever bit that poor person punctured a hole in the skin and then introducing the skin flora into the wound, and that's where possibly the infection, the cellulitis, comes from. So we're treating usually for skin infections from bacteria that come from the skin.
My daughter once put on pants when she was in college. She put on pants. A spider bit her butt, And before she was able to scream, it pulled the pants off, and out came the spider limping away, half squashed. And it was a brown recluse. Yeah. And it bit her. And so she went to the doctor. They checked it. I said, it's okay. Literally 2 weeks later, it was all, what do they call it, necrotized?
Yeah, necrotized.
It was all dead skin, and it was about the size of a large golf ball that they had to excise, cut out this dead. And so to this day, my daughter has a dimple on her butt. That's kind of, I don't see it. It's not like, hey, honey, pull that one out. Let's check it out now. Come on. Dogs, you're live, folks. We got a golf ball. Anything to do with sports and balls. Here it comes, folks.
But that was a brown recluse, so you saw it. You saw the...
She did, yeah.
Or she did,
Yeah. So Fallon is alive and well to this day with a big, huge dimple. Looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy's stomach, his belly button or something. Kind of weird. But so those things do happen, and in this place called Crutch City, I will say, oh my God, I have never seen such a huge amount of spiders. However, they are small. Yeah. So I guess the majority of spiders cannot. All spiders are poisonous, but I guess they're so small they can't penetrate the human skin. How many layers of skin do we have typically?
So we have probably, 7 or 8 different kinds, but they have different layers themselves. And then the last layer, the stratum corneum, I think, has like 30 to 100 layers of dead skin. So they're just layers of dead skin, which means there's no water really in there. There's just keratin, which is a protein in there. And that is very unattractive to bacteria or any other infections because they need warmth and water. And if we have dead skin, then they don't come and nest in there because
are we teeming with all sorts of bacterial cells all over our body that we don't even, of course, we don't see them. They're microscopic.
So we have many, many, many on us. We also have many, many more in us. That's how our gut needs our bacteria to have all this digestion going on. So we need a lot of these bacteria to be healthy.
Yeah, and that many layers on my skin, and you think, so when you do get buzzed by a bee, it penetrates those 20 or 30 or 90 outer layers, depending on where in your body it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me about something else. This is spontaneous, but tell me about, what is it about headaches? What's unique about a headache?
So the cool thing is most headaches, basically all headaches, are not in the brain, so it's not a brain ache.
Why? Are there no pain receptors?
Brain doesn't have any pain receptors. You can do brain surgery without people are awake and they have brain surgery done on their brain. It's the skin, the muscles, the blood vessels, the nerves outside of our skull that actually gives us pain.
But there's so little on the outside of our skull, so thin, right? Or it's
the muscles?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, there's not much. I mean, I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, but still, pain can be pretty painful. So yeah, and that's why you feel when you hold your head over your hands over your head and you feel it thump, thump, thump. That's the blood pulsing through. So in the brain, you wouldn't feel it, right?
You look like a German doctor, putting your hands in your head like that. I always make fun of her. Yeah, my doctor. She's German. Yeah. Her name is.
Did I have a German accent just now?
Actually, you really don't. You've got a cute thing. You came to the States how long ago?
34 years or so.
Wow.
No, 36. Holy. Oh, crap.
And you came first. You studied in Germany. You went to the.
I went to the University of Konstanz in Germany, and then I came over as a nanny to Chicago.
Wow, 34 years ago. And did you know right away you wanted to be an American?
Well, I wanted to stay a week, so I had a return ticket. I think I might still have it.
Still good. 34 years later.
Lufthansa probably won't. Anyway, so I was going to be here for 6 months, and then I came to the States, and I loved it. And a week after I got here, I said, I want to stay. And I stayed.
The rest is history. And then you took the let's see, you started Chicago, but then you've been to the
I went to Utah. after
Utah.
that.
Yeah,
I stayed
for
there forever.
20-year stop, right, at the University of Utah. And
First BYU for 3 years, and then
BYU.
University of Utah for 20
now, wait,
years.
but you weren't a student there, though. You were a professor.
I was in research. I did research
You
there.
were a research professor.
I wasn't professoring then, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you were researching in the basic stuff of DNA, right? Back in
Yeah,
the day.
so this is kind of interesting, maybe. That was in 87 I came. So in 88 or 87, I started working at BYU in the food science and nutrition lab. And it was just a very super beginning of PCR, polymerase chain reaction, that got
PCR.
popularized with O.J. Simpson's trial.
DNA stuff.
Yeah, that's DNA stuff. And so
in its infancy, you were working in.
super infancy. So we still had to put the enzymes in every cycle. You had a little pipette hat. You put it in a water bath for 20 minutes, and then in another water bath for 5 minutes, and then another water bath for whatever, 4 hours. So, or the half hour, I don't know. And so that was super beginning. And then, as a matter of fact, 3 years later, I interviewed at the University of Utah with my boss that I worked with for 20 years. And he said, do you do PCR, polymerase chain reaction? I said, yep, I do. And he said, how long does it take? I said, 4 to 7 hours. And he said, what would you think if I think we can do it in 15 minutes? And inwardly, I rolled my eyes and I thought, holy crap, he's crazy. But I took the job and he did it. He's the genius behind rapid PCR.
He's the father of the quick DNA
rapid
reading, which everybody
PCR.
uses today as if it's just
yeah,
common.
it's within minutes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So we have all this stuff. Is that what 23andMe is all about? I mean, also, no.
So 23andMe, yes, it's similar. So what they do is they look at mutations in the DNA that is found preferably in certain groups, like
Okay, certain racial profiling groups. What we're talking about, folks, is when you find what your ethnicity is, your background, your racial makeup, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And so what they're doing is they only go for a few mutations that are predominantly found in those groups. And so they're not doing all your DNA, your 3 million of base pairs. They're only doing a few hundred or maybe 1,000 of these mutations. And then they tell you what your racial makeup is. It's pretty interesting.
How interesting. I know my kids have done it. They want me to do it. And I just know I'm good enough. Dad was German, Mom was French. So I'm a mutt between the two. It's pretty much it. My kids even kind of show, well, their mom is from Baghdad, Iraq, so she threw in the weird divergent path there, because not many German, French people marry Baghdadians. But it's strange. Okay, but believe it or not, we're at the halfway point of this show. I want to thank you for tuning in to Jacques Talks. I'm Jacques Kepner, and your host for the remainder of this hour. I'll make this quick because I'm having so much fun talking with a doctor about some things, and some real good things are coming up with our conversation. But I want to let you know that the reason you are hearing this conversation is because I am a part of KFUG.com radio right here in Crescent City, California, and beyond. And folks, I had an idea several months ago to get back into broadcasting, and I pitched the show to Paul Kritz. And man, he has stepped up to the plate. He's a great station manager. He has his Morning Has Broken show every morning, which I'm now totally addicted to. The doctor and I listen to it every morning. And he's the man with one of the coolest voices in broadcasting. What I'm getting at is, if I can do it, then you may very well be able to get it back into, or start a road down broadcasting too. Doesn't matter what your age, everybody's welcome. If you have a great idea, if you have money, if you have volunteer time, then talk to us. Just pitch it to Paul, and although he's a busy guy, he's dedicated. He will listen to you. On a similar note, KFUG is on your radio right now because of those folks who are donating to this simple homespun community radio like KFUG. Find out more by going to kfugradio.org. Okay, we are back. Time to change a little bit of a slant. Instead of just talking general medical or disease-related issues like we have mentioned in the past half hour, Doctor, and that is you are the outsider, came in, been in Utah. I know your history. I'll quickly tell that you've spent some years in Louisiana, where you got some internship, did your intern, and spent time there. So you went from the cold, mountainous, unique area, the Rockies and down, and then you moved into the deep South and saw more of a rural setting. And then suddenly you find yourself 2,500 miles in the northwest quadrant of coastal California on the very verge of the border with Oregon. And you find yourself here. Paul Kritz this morning was mentioning that he would hope I would talk to you something about that. And that is, what does it take, Doctor, for a rather large, well, it's largely rural, somewhat isolated community like Crescent City to solicit and retain a quality doctor? Because as you hear it, I hear it all the time. As your paramour now, we're going out. And people are saying, please, doctor, stay. Stay. All the doctors go away. Away. What is it? Why does Crescent City intrinsically have a bunch of really bad people or medical problems or what?
No. So Crescent City is very rural, which is its beauty, I think. Crescent City, the nature is fantastic. It's probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. The coastline is breathtaking. I went into medicine in a rural track, meaning I knew I was going to do rural medicine. Rural medicine usually means you do more variety. You do more. You see more different pathologies, sicknesses, patients, and you do a lot on your own because there is not, for example, I don't want to say anything bad. There is nothing bad. But for example, we don't have all the specialists because we are so rural here. So some of the specialists need a large patient load to be a specialist for. So we do not have certain specialists. So that means our hospitalists or the hospital workers have to take over the specialist's job, and outpatient we have to do a lot of some of the specialists' knowledge or treatment as well. So it is more rounded. We do see a lot of poorer people that might have had a little less quality medical care because we are rural and they are poor. Those two things usually go hand in hand. So we do see it is challenging for people who might not be good. So I think people who are actually working here are possibly better than the ones that are in a large community where they really, they just refer out or don't have to think too much because there's always somebody who catches them, I would think.
Very interesting. Now, you said you were trained, so you are an MD, a medical doctor, under the banner of family medicine.
Yeah.
And family medicine is it's kind of the trending thing now, where it used to be internal.
So traditionally, internal medicine was in the hospital and family medicine was outside of the outpatient. Now there's a wish-wash. So really you see family medicine in the hospital as hospitalists and internal medicine as outpatient. Pretty much it's a very similar education, except for family medicine traditionally we say cradle to grave, so we see babies as well. Except for here in Crescent City, we have the advantage of having pediatricians.
Yeah, and okay, so we got pediatricians. You have some things like other doctors now are turning to go more of the robotic surgery. We don't really have that stuff yet. The robotic surgery.
We have some, but not the highfalutin, because you need the throughput through, not from family, but for specialists, right? You need the throughput in order to have the robotics pay for themselves. So that's mainly the reasons we don't have it here. We don't have that many people. We don't have.
So you've got to go if you're a patient here with more comprehensive and more maybe difficult issues, you're going to be referred out to either Eureka or Medford.
Yeah,
right? Or Grants
yeah.
Pass, because there's larger hospital there
Yeah.
with larger staff
Yeah.
and specialists. Okay. But because California has its Medicare system, which is different than OH, which is out of Oregon, I guess
Medicaid or
some things
partnership,
just
yeah.
don't really crisscross over very well, from what I
Right.
understand.
Some don't. Yeah. The state insurances usually. So we have partnership here, which is California based.
Okay, so when you're seeing patients, are we just generally seeing, is it pretty much typical, like I got a cold, I got a virus, or I think I got a virus, but I didn't know that a virus is a dead thing that's actually alive inside me, but it's really not alive. It's a zombie. I got some zombie thing in my throat. I did. I traveled a couple weeks ago, and I got a weird virus. As you know, it's like, I got this weird virus, and she tells me, there's nothing there. What do you mean it's not there? It's here. It's right here. No, it's not. It's dead. It's a zombie. You're being taken over by zombie cells. So
Anyway.
and it lasts for up to 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
So you're going to see the majority of people like this. And yet people will come to you about all sorts of it from.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I just see colds and sniffles. We see, so family medicine right now, outpatient, is to maintain health for whatever reason, with whatever pathology. So for example, a lot of people have diabetes. Diabetes is perfectly manageable if you know how to do it and if you pay attention. Blood pressure, very, very super common, manageable. COPD, asthma. I mean, there is a host of other things that, once adjusted, really can be managed very well. It does usually include medication.
We've got an obese society, as you know. So many people. I've battled with obesity in my life. We have these issues, and I guess we shouldn't get down into that's all the supersizing, all these supersized meals and stuff we changed back in the 50s, and totally we're working our way towards this. And yet at the same time, I believe our life expectancy here in the United States is growing a little bit higher. COVID knocked it down a bit.
Yeah.
And now it's going back up again. Less people are dying. They're dying a little bit later. But the quality of life. So how do you address your quality of life issues? I mean, you are a pain specialist that prescribes medicines.
Wait, a pain medicine? What pain? I'm not pain.
You're not a pain management person?
No.
Okay, I knew that. I was just testing you. But people come to you and they want some, hey, I'm sick. I need I need some prescription drugs and whatnot. So how do you tell, what's the biggest, greatest medicine right now? Is it
The biggest, greatest medicine, hands down, is Ozempic or semaglutide or Wegovy or liraglutide, any of those new diabetic medication that have now been approved for weight loss. A lot of people are on it, and the pharmacies are perpetually out of it because it is probably the newest, hippest thing on the market. It is an
Ozempic. Oh, we shouldn't be plugging a pharmaceutical, that's for sure.
Oops.
Bastardes.
Yeah, well, I said all of them, so
Yeah,
it's okay.
so all the different types. So that's a hot medicine. That's what equates to Viagra 20 years ago, when all the guys were getting Viagra, right? Wasn't that the big hot thing?
Yeah, it is the hottest thing. It really is, and it works. A lot of people for the first time are able to lose weight, so it does work for weight loss. You always have to, of course, still exercise and watch what you eat, but it does help with the weight loss. And I think a lot many problems are due to being overweight. Now, these medications are diabetic medications. So they are primarily for diabetes, but they have been FDA approved for weight loss. And the cardiologist probably first up, and the endocrinologist will attest to how much the health can improve by losing weight.
So there's also, yeah, of course, losing weight, eating a well-balanced meals. I am gone pretty much plant-based. I purposely don't say vegan. As you know, we're plant-based people.
Yeah.
We primarily eat plant-based good stuff. And with...
yeah, you're a good cook.
Yeah, thank you. And then with that comes, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. That's an ancient saying by the Greek Hippocrates, or no, who is he? I forgot. I should know that. Paul? Who the hell said that? But okay, so you're not just into preventative. You are into preventative, but that's a part of your job. When people come to you about other issues, for instance, anxiety, isn't that a big thing in medicine right now? That people are super depressed, right?
Yes. And so it's interesting because especially the pediatric population has seen a big uptick of depression, anxiety, and the pediatricians, for some of the pediatricians, certainly attributed to the isolation we had with the COVID time, that kids could not play or they didn't play, or they were afraid of catching the virus, or the parents were afraid or whatever. So they're thinking that this 2 years of isolation has had a huge impact in the mental well-being. Yeah. And there is a lot of anxiety, depression going around. I don't know if it's an uptick from before, but with the children, it is a huge uptick. Yeah.
With children, interesting.
With children,
now
especially.
Yeah, I went down that road a ways too after the sudden tragic loss of my late partner. When she passed away so suddenly, I was thrown into a chaotic world of grief and grieving. Didn't know what to do. Then my brother died. It was a 1-2 punch with him dying, and he and I were best buddies. So I went down that road of depression, and I went to a doctor and said, I'm depressed. And I got on some of the mild stuff called Wellbutrin, which some of you may or may not know. And it was okay. It helped me. It helped me kind of wake up in the morning and kind of look at the sun and say, it's not that bad of a day. It could be worse. And for me, it helped other people. I have friends. I guess it's a really super prescribed medicine, or all the anxiety, depression pills are, right?
Yes, very much. So my family medicine guidelines go with, you should start with a certain drug, the SSRIs, the serotonin reuptake inhibitors, such as Zoloft or Prozac. That's what you should start first because of the least side
Wait a
effects.
minute. Prozac and Zoloft, those are heavy hitters.
No, not the core. No.
When you say Prozac or Zoloft, I think, my God, that's Wellbutrin is like... Okay. Well, I mean, Wellbutrin is like aspirin, baby aspirin.
Yeah,
and that's...
no.
What do you mean? I'm kind of feel like I know Wellbutrin. I've been on and off of it for a few years. Oh, she's got her phone, and she just dials in on her phone.
I'm going to see, because Wellbutrin, oh my gosh, you're not supposed to.
You're more just Wellbutrin's like baby aspirin.
No,
basically.
so the thing is, I'm going to look up Wellbutrin. So, for example, Zoloft or Prozac, there are SSRIs, serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Then there is venlafaxine or Fexor, which is an SNRI, serotonin norepinephrine, noradrenaline reuptake inhibitor. Now, the Wellbutrin, I'm telling you, that's what I'm looking up. Listen to this. The mechanism of action not well understood, structurally unrelated to SSRIs or TCAs, which is a tricyclic antidepressant, MAOs, does not inhibit blah, blah, blah. So, not knowing how it works necessarily super duper to the dot doesn't make it a light hitter. It just works differently, and different people actually really need different drugs. There is not, this will work for you, this will work for you. So one has to actually experiment around to see what works best for you.
Yeah, same with now. The other big issue in my life is what? It's sleeping. Okay, so I've struggled with sleeping for years. I've heard that 4 out of 5 Americans struggle with sleep
Yeah.
On a permanent basis,
Yeah.
meaning they're crying out. I finally found some combination of a combination of 2 drugs that put me essentially down, but with no hangover effect, no grogginess if I wake up in the middle of the night. And I'm okay with it. It's all right. But long-term use of this stuff, like the Wellbutrin, I'm no longer on Wellbutrin. I wean myself off over it slowly over a couple of years, and I'm okay without it. But the psychological end of some of these sleeping medications are, at least the ones I'm on now, they're not psychologically addicting.
Right.
Because sleeping medication could be really addicting, right?
Very, very much, yes.
And why? Just because we're so dependent upon sleep and craving it?
So there's the one medication or the one group of medication that I do not like to prescribe, and those are the hypnotics. So Ambien is one of the hypnotics, for example. They knock you out. They work very, very, very well. Apparently, one is not hungover after that, but it is a hypnotic. You don't necessarily know what you're doing. There's many people who do stuff that they don't know they're doing. I had a patient personally tell me that she got out at night, knocked at the neighbor's door, woke up when the neighbor opened the door, and that was an outside next door.
Wow.
Another patient told me that she gained weight and she didn't know why, and then one night she woke up by the open fridge and she had stuff in her mouth. So it's the hypnotic.
So it's the hypnotic is really zipping you out.
And it's very, very addictive. So you can hardly ever, I shouldn't say hardly ever. It takes a big effort from the person who is on it, a real will to be able to wean off a hypnotic, which sometimes can be done and sometimes it just cannot.
Oh, interesting. All these little fields, all these little questions we could go down.
Yeah.
And with medicine, how fascinating we are, how some little we know, like viruses are not a living thing. It still blows my mind. That damn thing's alive. I'm looking at a COVID model on the wall, on the bookshelf over here. It's a COVID cell. It's real. That thing's real, but you're telling me it's not. Oh, God. All viruses are not living, folks. Just let you know that. It's about 10 minutes of the hour. We have had the past 50 minutes. Good conversation with Dr. G, who I like to affectionately call a body mechanic. So a lot of my friends say, "Hey, man, I understand you got a girlfriend, man. What's going on? What does she do?" I go, "Oh, she's a body mechanic." "Oh, really, man? I got a '68 GTO. It got dinged on the side by an elk that ran into it the other day down at the casino. And will she take a look at it?" And I go, Sure. "Did you get hurt in the accident?" No, not a lot. "Well, then maybe she won't see you." "What do you mean, man?" "Because she's a body mechanic. She's an MD. She's a medical doctor. She'll check out your body." So I think that's the cutest thing in the world. "I'm a body mechanic." And you were so quiet and cute when we were out on the town. A lot of people know us now in town, so it's a lot of fun going out and socializing. Here in Crescent City, I was a Brookings snob. Okay, I admit it. I was like, "Hey, man, I lived for 2.5 years. Brookings. Hey, Brookings is totally cool, man. It's got culture, and it's got art and lots of restaurants. Hey, I'm cool. I'm a Brookings guy, okay?" And I kind of, wait a minute. I'm moving down to Crescent City now. Okay, I'll give it a try, folks. I am impressed with the core Crescent City. It is physically beautiful, just like Brookings. It's a little bit bigger in some ways, in weird ways. The downtown isn't as vibrant, but those people that are in the downtown area and those people that are having their business, they're flourishing and doing well here. And there is a cool undercurrent of good souls and resonating vibes here in this wonderful place, of which now the doctor has become a part of. And why is it do so many of the doctors kind of fade out? Because there's just not enough action for them here?
Well, probably. So what I always hear the prototype story is that the men come here and want to practice, and then the women, their wives, don't have enough shopping to do. So that's the story that I hear. Is that really what's going on? I haven't firsthand seen that, and so I think it's just maybe one of those stories that go around. Maybe it happened to one person, but there is a lot of people here who try it out, and maybe they have family somewhere else. So I have known of people that leave because they have family somewhere else. Most people actually were travelers. They come as a short term. That's their 3-month, 6-month appointment, and then they move on. That's what they want to do. They want to see a lot from the world, or in the States, or in California, wherever they go. And so they take those locum jobs for a few months, and then they move on. So that's what I have heard. We have had a lot of long-term people here as well. So I cannot speak for it. I do know we have had a lot of locum people short-term, but they were hired as short-term. They do not leave because they don't like it. They are hired for short-term.
I dig the fact that more and more women are getting involved in medicine.
Yeah.
It's changing the dynamics. It's about time.
Yeah.
It's about time we had women step up and become equal rights in every manner, which and form as men, and get paid as well, or more. And I could get up on my bandwagon and stomp and say, hey. But good for you that you've done what you've done, and excelled in it. And those that know you so well, I see it when we're out. They just sort of like look at you and go, doctor, doctor, hey. Or they occasionally they'll come up, hey, I got some prescription. Can I get that changed, please? Can I get that change? Somebody we know just came in. Oh, we won't say. It's good. Hey, change the prescription on me, please. What the hell is it? So you've done that. You've proven yourself to be capable. I understand that the medical industry is changing with more women now enrolled in medical school than men. Wow. I know that's definitely changed in law school. Yeah. Law school now is about 65 to 70% are female coming into the attorney's world. And so these kind of upper echelon type of jobs are being more women run and women organized and women. It's about time. It's just about time. I love having you as my doctor. As I tell you, I got a German doctor. Mm-hmm. She puts on the blue glove of love.
Never happened.
I swear that happened. I didn't put the blue glove on. Hold on. The equipment looks good. My kids, everybody. Well, that's how I remember it happening. My gosh. So it's been a wonderful experience with you. I've had other female doctors in my bank, and I much prefer a gal any day. They're just more down to earth and more realistic and less prone to look down at their watch and go, "Oh, what other problems you got?" No, they're not. I generally like a gal. Things. What are your general plans now? You've been here almost 3 years.
Yeah.
You've invested in the community. You live here. You own a home, and it is arguably one of the most beautiful places on earth. You've always told me.
Sure is. Yeah, it is.
You pinch yourself sometimes when we go out to the beach or whatnot. You go, hey, I live here by the ocean, right?
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
This is a good vibe, and we're all at that age. Where let me touch the last few minutes here about something that goes personal with you. We both are widow. I'm a widower, and you're a widow. And you lost your partner at a later age in life. We're both in our 60s now, and those things happened to you more recently than Gigi, who passed away 7 years ago. But yours about 4 years ago. So the grieving part, is grieving considered depression? What is grieving?
Oh, yes, for sure. So interesting. Good, really good question. So It is actually clinically normal to be grieving for at least 6 months to up to 2 years. So if you are tearing up for 2 years, it is totally normal. Nobody can tell you, I need to get over it by now. So clinically seen, grieving less than 6 months it almost seems unnatural. So 6 months to 2 years grieving is absolutely normal. Can you be put on an antidepressant? Yes, you can. It will help. That's called reactive depression, and you can always be weaned off again. There's lots of people who want to be on something just to get over that hump. If once you're on it, you don't have to stay on it. You can always wean off. So yes, this is one example of where depression is not a clinical depression, but an environmentally put upon you depression.
2 years? Wow. I mean, I've had a show on grief and grieving with Jenna last couple weeks, and I still cried after 7 years.
Yeah.
It still touches me.
Yeah.
And
it will always touch you. It is always, but so clinical depression, reactive depression means you cannot function, you cannot go to work, you cannot just get up out of bed type thing.
Cool.
And grieving is hopefully always going to be part of us, because that is remembering what we have.
Yeah, true. Doctor, what a pleasure talking with you. Seems like I've just brushed on so many areas that we could have gone and got more substantive meat out of, but I'm glad that you expressed some of your sentiments about being a rural doctor here in this area. We really, really appreciate you in this community, and thank you.
Thank you
so
very
much. We'll have you on again.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
very much.
I wish to thank the universe for guiding me to KFUG 101.FM. And if I could do it, you can too. I ask you, I implore you to get involved in your community radio station. Why not? We're here for you. We are you. We're made up of voices that you can hold up to this microphone and help in many ways. I can't wait to hear about your stories and your trials and interests and passions and causes and needs and services, contributions, etc., etc. You can reach out to me, Jacques, or Jack is fine, at 541-999-7680. If you know of somebody that's unique and cool, would love to have him on the air with me. And a very special thank you to Paul, my fellow esteemed colleague, whom I'm honored to work with, and is most probably the best station manager I know. And I'm so appreciative of that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate everybody. Peace and love to all, and have a good week. See you next week. Bye-bye.